Moses had an older brother, Aaron, and at least one sister older, and a sister called Miriam. We don't know whether they were the same person or not. When Moses was born, it was his older sister who said to the princess, "Can I go and get a nurse for you to nurse the baby?" It was Miriam, the sister of Moses, who led the women in songs of praise to the Lord at the crossing of the Red Sea. In Numbers chapter 12, we find that both Miriam and Aaron become jealous of Moses. They had been in the wilderness just over 12 months. They had established the tabernacle, and now they had begun their journeying to the promised land. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. So they said, "Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also?" And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, "Come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting." So the three came out. Then the Lord came down in the pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. Then he said, "Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark sayings, and he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?" So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed. And when the cloud departed from above the tabernacle, suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned toward Miriam, and there she was, a leper. So Aaron said to Moses, "O my Lord, please do not lay this sin on us, in which we have done foolishly, and in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be as one dead, whose flesh is half consumed when he comes out of his mother's womb." So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, "Please heal her, O God, I pray." And the Lord said to Moses, "If her father had but spit in her face, would she not be shamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterward she may be received again." So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward the people moved from Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we share these verses together from Numbers chapter 12. Jealousy is a very subtle thing, and it can easily affect our thinking. We can see what somebody else does, and it is easy for us to find fault. Now we know Moses had married Zipporah, the Midianite princess. Here we're told that he married an Ethiopian woman, an African woman, a woman from the south, evidently a different person, a second marriage. And of course we note that multiple wives were not condemned in the Old Testament, culminating in Solomon, who had 700 wives. So it was not an issue that he married a second time. The issue was that he married an Ethiopian woman. So they criticised him for that. Later we would find that the children of Israel were instructed just to marry Israelites, because if they married foreign women, then they were bringing foreign gods into their midst, which was the problem that Solomon had. But at this stage, there was no such rule or instruction. And I have no doubt that this Ethiopian woman was a woman of faith. Abraham had Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah. Sarah was his half-sister, so she was from Shem. But Hagar was an Egyptian, so she was a descendant of Ham. And I understand Keturah was a European, a descendant of Japheth. So there was no problem in the scriptures for Moses to marry an Ethiopian, an African woman. But Miriam and Aaron spoke against him because he had done so. And the Lord is very jealous of his servant, because Moses didn't defend himself. But to criticize Moses is to criticize his master, the Father, God. Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. He allowed them to criticize him, not like modern leaders who will put in jail or oppress somebody who criticizes them. Moses didn't defend himself, just as Jesus was silent when he was falsely accused. But the Lord found fault with them and brought them forward and said, "Weren't you afraid to speak against my servant?" Today, many people criticize other people in the ministry of God. But Paul tells us that we should not judge another man's servant. The servants of the Lord are God's servants. It is up to the Lord to judge them, to commend whom he will and condemn whom he will. But it's not for us. And Paul tells us very strongly, it is foolish for you to compare yourself with other people, because you can easily come to the conclusion that you are better when you are worse, because you do not use the same measure as God uses. God spoke plainly with Moses, not in dark sayings. He sees the form of the Lord. Moses had a very special relationship with God. Aaron and Miriam, above all people, should have recognized that. And so when the Lord made this point to Aaron and Miriam, and when the cloud departed from over the tabernacle, Miriam was leprous, as white as snow. When Aaron sees, he pleads with Moses. He hasn't pleaded with God, he pleads with Moses. Moses is the one who can talk to God. Please heal her. And Moses cries out to the Lord. And the Lord responds, "Okay, I'll heal her. But the process is that she must be declared unclean for a week and remain outside the camp for that week." For that was the law that is outlaid in Leviticus. If a person comes to the priest shall examine the person, and if they seem to be clean, they shall go away and wash and come back a week later and make sure that they are clean before they can be received into the camp. So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. It's interesting that Aaron himself was not judged in this way, in that he was made leprous. He was indeed the chief priest, and had he become leprous, then his ministry would have been over. And it would seem, from the way it's written in verse 1, that then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses. It would seem that Miriam began the discussion, complaining about the Ethiopian woman. But Aaron, instead of correcting her, went along with her criticism. Nevertheless, both were rebuked, because Aaron now realizes that while he has a very privileged position before God, it is Moses who is the servant of the Lord, to whom the Lord has spoken face to face. And it's important for us to realize that the writings of Moses, as indeed of all the scriptures, are not just Moses' words. He was the servant of the Lord. His words are from God. Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream. But not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark sayings. And he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?